Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about gentle skincare, sometimes self-care, and today we're talking December favorites, the video where I get to share with you all the beauty products that made a big impression on me this month. So if you're so ready to dive into my fave picks, give the video a big thumbs up and let's get started. So first up is the Klairs All Day Airy Sunscreen. This offers SPF 50 plus PA plus for protection. It uses 4 all new generation chemical filters. This doesn't contain any fragrance, drying alcohol, or essential oils. Now, if you have been following me for a while, or if you really like to go into the archives, right, and doing like the deep cut content, you'll know that I did review the original version of this sunscreen. It was either the end of 2018 or maybe the beginning of 2019. It was a while ago, but they did release the reformulated version, the retested version, right? They've definitely made some tweaks here to the formula because, as I mentioned, this doesn't contain any essential oils, and the original did. So this has been tweaked, reformulated. It's been on the market for a while. It took me a minute to get my hands on it and to test it out. But as soon as I started using this this bottle of sunscreen, I was like, oh yeah, I remember why I loved that one so much, that original one. Did this blow my mind and feel like new and innovative? No, not at all. I've definitely evolved, right, in my sunscreen use and the products that I've been exposed to and what I've used. And I think the market has changed a lot since that original product came out. But all that being said, this really does maintain a lot of those main characteristics that made it special in the first place. That light, essence-like texture. It's a really airy, lotion-like sunscreen. It's not a cream. It's not a greasy kind of sunscreen. It has a really beautiful light texture that's incredibly breathable, that feels more like a skincare product than a sunscreen product. It feels so comfortable on the skin. It gives this really beautiful, like dewy finish to the skin that I really enjoy. And so I've just really been liking this. It's kind of one of those effortless types of sunscreen products, and that's really what I prefer when it comes to sun protection. It's not the appropriate choice for every situation. If I'm going to go to the beach or be outside a lot sweating, or I'm going to be in a high UV situation, I might not choose a sunscreen like this. But for everyday, what do I call it, casual exposure, right? It's definitely something that just feels like I can put it on my face and I'm not going to be thinking about this heavy layer, this uncomfortable layer, this itchy, stingy layer on my skin. I'm not going to be thinking about the grease that it's producing on my face, right? Because it's not. And so I just really appreciate sunscreens like that because, you know, part of the battle with sunscreen is just like feeling good about putting it on your face. Like it's not a chore to put it on. And these types of textures and formulations make that a lot easier, right? To stay consistent with our sunscreen. So I'm really enjoying the reformulated version. So next up is Hero Cosmetics Pore Purity Cleansing Clay Mask. And I loved it so much I actually emptied it before I got a chance to talk to you about it. I've really been enjoying this clay mask, and you know, in the past I have not been a big clay mask user at all. You know, in my teens and early 20s I definitely used clay masks quite a bit. My skin type was much more oily back then and more acne prone, but as I've gotten older, I've entered my 30s, I've become a tretinoin user. Clay masks have just been feeling way too dry for me, so I really just kind of avoided them because I was like, those aren't for me, and it just was like not an area of skincare that I spent any time on. But recently in the past, you know, I did discover a clay mask that I really enjoy from Isntree, the mugwort clay mask that I've talked about on my channel quite a bit as being one of the few clay masks that is gentle enough and not so drying for my skin that I actually do enjoy it for occasional use. But in the last year, I've really been using clay masks a lot more consistently, like once a week. And I've especially been able to do that because I've been mixing milk cleanser with my clay mask to create a slightly more moisturizing experience. You still get the cleansing properties of clay. You know, it really helps to draw out impurities from the pores, and when you kind of help to clean them out, they do look a little bit more refined and tightened. And so I have been able to get those benefits, but with using a moisturizing cleanser mixed in, it adds a little bit more softness, a little bit more moisture, and it helps to cut down on the clay really sucking a lot of essential moisture from the skin, especially if you're prone to dryness. So I do suggest trying that tip out if you haven't already. I've mentioned it a few times here in the past couple of months, but it has made staying consistent with clay masks a lot easier for me, and I've been really reaping the benefits from that, especially around my nose area. I really do need clay to help clean things out, and so that tip has really helped. But I did want to share about this hero mask specifically because I do think on its own, it's quite a gentle clay mask. It doesn't suck the living moisture out of your skin. It actually has this really interesting texture. It's almost like a whipped, almost a mousse-like clay texture. It's not a really heavy, dense, thick, hard to spread kind of clay. There's an airiness to it. Like I said, like a whipped quality to it that you can feel. It's kind of fluffy. It spreads really nicely across the skin, and it just doesn't dry out so much to the point where it's taking, as I mentioned, that essential moisture from our skin. It might be taking excessive oil and sebum from the skin, but it's not stripping the skin and making it feel really dry and tight. So right then and there, as a gentle option for people who want to use clay masks but really hate that drying factor, this is just gentle on its own. But of course you can mix this with a milk cleanser if you really wanted to. I also wanted to mention this because this is quite nice for breakouts. I had a few this month, some inflamed clogged pores that got quite swollen and red and a little bit painful. And what's a little bit different about this mask is they have included sulfur and spirulina and a couple of other some nice beneficial ingredients in here in addition to the clay. And I think the sulfur is really kind of the secret sauce for the inflamed pimples. Sulfur is actually really great acne treatment. It can really help. And so there's a little bit of that in here without, again, being a really harsh or drying treatment for the skin. And so I was really impressed with this. I had this for a while and I wasn't sure if it was going to be too drying, but once I opened it up and tried it the first time, you can see, squeezed it down to the very last drop. I save a little bit just to show you the texture today, but I'm really impressed with this one. Non-drying, but also an additional benefit for helping to calm down the inflammation and the swelling associated with acne. I think this is a really nice clay mask, and it does have a little bit of an edge. It's just a little bit different with that sulfur, and I find it very helpful. So next up, I want to talk about the Roche-Posay Lipikar AP Plus Gentle Foaming Cleansing Oil. I recently picked this up at Target, at my local Target. I think it was right at the end of November, and I was really excited to see that they had this because my Target doesn't always have like the newest products, and so I was really excited to see this. This is actually, so cleansing oils or foaming cleansing oils, right? This is definitely something that I've seen from a lot of the French pharmacy brands. So like Avene or Aven, Bioderma, right? They all have had oil cleansers. I've used most of them, actually, really do like them. And so that is a trend, I think really in Europe that you're probably very familiar with if you live there or visit there often. I think also in Canada too, this is not a new kind of like product type, but I would say here in the States, it's pretty new for what's available. Like if you go to the drugstore, a foaming oil cleanser, this is fairly new. CeraVe just came out with one, I want to say last year, maybe it was. And I think they even released that on the European side first before they introduced it to the North American market. What I want to say about that is I think that in the United States, we still, like in the beauty market, I think there's still a lot of resistance to the word oil because there has been such a strong trend for so many years that oil equals oil. So that oil will make you oilier, which can then cause breakouts and acne, right? And so we had a really like mattifying kind of a trend and thought process with a lot of skincare, but also with makeup too. Like we like things really matte, no oil whatsoever. And the whole concept and an idea of dewy skin, moisturized skin, shiny skin is starting to be a lot more embraced here, but it's been a slow process. And so I think that there is still some pushback from like an average consumer for something that says oil in it, right? But the things are changing, and so it's cool to see. Like I said, I don't usually get those types of products at my local Target, so it's cool to see this available to a much wider audience now. So there we go. Definitely interesting product there. I snatched it up right away as soon as I saw it. This is a bit confusing though, because for two reasons. If you're into K-beauty, like I am, you may have read cleansing oil and been like, cool, it's gonna remove my makeup. And I'm not saying that this can't remove makeup, but if you're into that double cleansing method, using a dedicated oil cleanser to remove stubborn makeup and thick layers of sunscreen, and then follow it up with a foaming cleanser, this would not be the first cleanser. This would not be your oil-based cleanser. This would actually be the foaming second cleanser in that process. Confusing, I know. Second point of confusion for me, and I think a lot of people, this particular product, cleansing oil, does not contain any oil. I just went through that whole spiel about oil, right? There's no oil in here. I love when, brands have these names and these marketing claims, and all you have to do is turn the bottle around, read the ingredients, and if you have familiarized yourself with this at all, you can challenge those claims immediately. And so it was really interesting that they called this an oil cleanser. There's no oil. I do believe the emolliency and the moisture content is coming from shea butter. It's a very common ingredient for Roche-Posay, and it's definitely a very moisturizing ingredient, but there is no like specific plant oil in here. Interesting, right? So interesting name, interesting concept, a lot going on here. But all that being said, I really like using this product. This is a nice alternative to milk cleansers or cream cleansers, which I'm a big fan of, and definitely in the winter when my skin is really dry, and especially as a tretinoin user, I really do appreciate those very nourishing types of cleansers, but sometimes they're just not always what I want. They don't always feel good. I have a nice, quite glam makeup look today, right? I'll use my first oil cleanser, and then my second foaming cleanser, I'm not going to want it to be a milk cleanser. I'm going to want something that kind of gets in there and really gives me a nice effective clean. And this is a nice gentle alternative to a traditional foaming cleanser. This definitely is a gel-based cleanser. It's low foaming, but there is some foam to it, and I think that's what helps keep it gentle on the skin. And because it is formulated with shea butter, you get that nice moisturization. But unlike a cream or a milk cleanser, when you rinse this away, it rinses away very cleanly. It's not something that goes into every little dry area and just like rushes it with moisture or soothes it with that nourishing comfort, right? This is just something that feels really nice and skin respective, nothing that strips your skin of oil, nothing that foams up too much or feels really aggressive on your skin. But once it washes away, it's gone. It's not left on your face. There's no layer, there's no base of moisture. And while that has a place sometimes, it also is not always appreciated, right? And so that's where this kind of falls. It's not as aggressive as a foaming cleanser, but it's not as moisturizing as a milk or cream cleanser. It's somewhere in the middle, and that's kind of nice to have on hand. La Roche-Posay also succeeds at giving us some really nice big generous sizes with pumps, and they do like to create products that can be used for face and body, and this is something I have enjoyed having in the shower. So next up, I want to talk about the Current Body LED Red Light Mask, and this is something that I've been using for quite a few months. I think I started using this in September. I've had it for a while, but I started to really commit to using this on a regular basis in September, and I really wanted to give this a good long period of time to use it, to really know what it was about and what it could do for my skin before I ever really talked about it in depth here on my channel, because especially with products like this, devices, you really do need some time to get a really good idea about what it can and what it can't do, right? So this is a mask that uses red light. I do have a few other mask reviews over the years that I've done on red light devices. I'm generally a fan of them. I think that they can be very helpful. I think that they can produce some really nice benefits for the skin, and I have been noticing that they're really picking up in popularity. Red light can help with the collagen stimulation process, so it's particularly good for well aging, but it can also help with skin repair and wound healing, and that again goes back to that collagen stimulating process. But it can be particularly helpful for people who are suffering with maybe some fresh scars, some popped pimples with acne, any kind of open skin event on your face or really anywhere in your body, red light can actually help to produce healthy scar and healthy skin formation over those wounds, nice and smooth and not bumpy, right? So it can help with that. It can help with dark marks, a discoloration on the skin, and just the overall complexion and give a more even tone to the skin. So it can actually do quite a bit for the skin, just red light. Red light is used in doctor's offices for after surgery to help with scar formation. It's been pretty extensively studied. It actually was first used by NASA for astronauts. So there's a lot of proof about red light, and there's been more and more cosmetic devices for at-home use that have been hitting the market. And as I mentioned earlier, I've been noticing it picking up in popularity. This is the third red light mask that I have used. And so I feel like I have a pretty good idea about what I like and don't like in red light masks. And this has a lot of things that I like in red light mask. This is actually the first red light mask that I've used that has flexibility to it, which I really like. The other ones I've used have been that hard plastic, which have always created discomfort for me. And so I really like the design of this because it flexes, it has the strap, so it fits really nicely, molds to my face. It does slip a little bit, but generally I can get up and walk around with this if I really needed to, and it stays in place and it's not slipping too much. So just the fact that it is flexible like this has actually made this the most comfortable one that I've used. I also really like that this is you're not tethered. So this is the battery pack. You charge the battery pack on one end, so you can charge this without it being attached to the mask. And then this little USB cord goes into the battery pack, and then this is what powers the mask. But you're not tethered to an outlet, which I think is really, really nice. And this only takes 10 minutes to use. And what I've really noticed is that it definitely helps to keep the skin just looking really fresh, really vibrant. It really brings a lot of vitality to the skin. And I know that that doesn't sound like very impressive, but I think that it really does help to make your skin just like improve and look better. I think it helps with texture. It's definitely helped with hyperpigmentation. And what really solidified it for me this month and why I wanted to share on it now specifically is because it has really helped with wound healing. And that's been really important to me. I had a really bad pimple, really just nasty pimple on my nose, and it was one of those ones that like it was inflamed for a really long time. So right then and there, hyperpigmentation, there's nothing you can do about it. That's just the type of skin that I have. So if there's an inflammatory event, I'm gonna have a dark mark. If it's an extreme inflammatory event, it's gonna be bad, right? The pimple, it was one of those pimples where it had to come out. It had to pop. It was no going back in. So once it did pop and drain, it was just really bad. It was a wound, right, on my face. And so I started to use the red light mask like every single day. Whereas before I had been using it 3 to 4 times a week. I started using it every single day because I knew it was supposed to help with wound healing. And it's really amazing how quickly that pimple not only closed up, that skin healed up and closed up, but it was so smooth. It was fast, it was smooth, it was healthy. It was a really good healing process, something that without red light would have taken a much longer time to heal. This is something that for long term is going to help with collagen stimulation and well aging concerns, but in the short term, for the right now, I am reaping the benefits for the texture, for the brightness, for the vitality, for the healing, and for the dark marks. Wow, can you believe that we're here at the end of December, the end of 2023? I feel like this year went really fast. Like I feel like it just got started, but here we are at the end of it. And you know, I will be doing my best of the year. It will be coming out right after this video, so you can hang tight for that video. I know that is always like a very popular video, so hang tight. That's going to be a separate one that's coming out later. But you know, here in the wrap up for December, I had originally wanted to talk about embracing peace. in the new year for 2024, and really reflecting on what that word means for you personally. Peace is something that I think we need collectively in this world, but I also think that it is something that we don't always cultivate personally in our lives. And I was going to speak on that, as I feel that, as I said, I feel in my heart we really do need to cultivate that. We really do need to understand that. We really do need to embody peace. However, this month, I'm just going to be really real with you right now, has been probably one of the harder months for sure of the year, maybe in a while for me. My family is going through something right now. A dear family member has been taken ill very suddenly like that. And we're all taken by surprise. And, you know, she is in recovery right now. It's going to be a long haul. But we're really shaken, you know, especially, as I said, somebody who I'm very close to in my family during a time when it's all about family coming together. And we're not really able to do that in the way that we have in the past. I'm sharing on this because what I learned from this experience and what hit me about this experience is that you cannot take anything in life for granted, because nothing is a given. What you have today, you may not have tomorrow. You are not guaranteed that. You know, you could have something happen to you so sudden, and everything that you know could change in an instant. I feel like that was something that I really took to heart from this whole situation, is that things can change so fast, and you don't want to regret the things that you wanted to do that you held yourself back from, the things that you didn't do, the gratitude maybe that you didn't express, the people you didn't hug, right? The opportunities you didn't take. That is something that I'm taking to heart. This is something that I am going to take into the new year with me. Like I said, as a positive, gentle reminder. Life is so precious. Let's enjoy it to the fullest. So I'm curious to hear about your favorite skincare products from the month. Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you learned a lesson this month as well. If you love this video, you watched it all the way through, but maybe you haven't hit subscribe yet, please, I would be so honored if you would hit subscribe and come join our community, especially if you do love learning about skincare, but also a little bit about self-care as well. And don't forget to turn on notifications, because I'm very active here on YouTube. I post full-length videos. I do shorts. I sometimes go live, and I have a video skincare podcast as well. So lots of great skincare content for you to enjoy. I hope you are healthy, happy, and safe, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. I love you so much. Bye.